What's up, world? This is America. We're back at it again. My name's Hobson McCain,
My name is Mark Ray Ramyer.
and we're coming at you this week with the economic news. Now, just to preface this, we're going to play a small clip from last week.
American business to be able to sustain themselves, they have to cut costs some way. And the best way for them to cut costs is to cut production costs by moving their businesses overseas, somewhere where they can produce them for a lot cheaper and, bring them over here with no tax and sell them for the same price as their competitors.
Either that or laying off employees.
So, you heard it here.
You heard it here first. These tariffs, in the long run, are gonna mess us up economically. They're, by design, theoretically, we understand the intention, but that intention is obviously not playing out. So basically, in the past week, there have been a multitude of CEOs and different corporations that have announced that they're going to start moving more of their operations and production overseas to avoid some of the tariffs. Namely, the big one that Donald Trump has been vocally in opposition to is the Harley Davidson motorcycle company. They make motorcycles. They said that they were going to shift production of the motorcycles that were going to be sold in the EU to the EU. They weren't going to shift domestic product like the motorcycles that me and Mark, if we wanted to buy a Harley Davidson, those motorcycles would still be produced in America. But Hobson McEurope is he's going to buy his motorcycles from somewhere where they got produced in Europe or in the EU. So they said that they were doing this to avoid $100 million annually of tariffs that would be imposed on them from the EU in response to the aluminum and steel tariffs that Donald Trump imposed on the EU. So, $100 million a year is a large chunk of change for companies to just be, absorbing due to the president's international trade policies.
To be completely honest, it's not something that's, something that I can't understand. From a business perspective, $100 million annually is a lot. It's too much for you to be losing because of someone else's problem. Now, that sounds bad to say it that way, but that's kind of how they're going to look at it, and that's why they're responding the way that they are. Businesses, a.k.a. Harley Davidson in this case, didn't do anything wrong. They didn't do anything specifically to cost themselves $100 million a year. So, like I said before in the last episode, they're going to cut costs where they can. And the easiest way for them to cut costs without losing any money is in production. Production is a lot cheaper overseas because of the looser regulation that they have on big businesses overseas. And plus the fact that there's going to be taxes on tariffs for us to export our goods. So it would be much cheaper for you to produce the goods that you're going to sell overseas. That sounds kind of better than them taking all of the jobs overseas because, there will still be something to say here. But we have to be realistic. A lot of people are going to lose jobs if they're going to move all of the production for international goods overseas.
And just to preface this, Harley Davidson hasn't made the decision yet. They haven't shifted their production yet. This was just something that they announced that they were planning to do, and Donald Trump, in true DT fashion, came out and completely not demonized, but in response to their shifting of production overseas, they were going to be met with a lot of domestic taxes. Now, if they're already shifting production overseas, and then our country starts to tax them further on the products that they're producing in America, like you said, trying to keep jobs, as many jobs as they can at least in America without losing $100 million a year, then that is just going to push them to move production elsewhere. And if Harley Davidson is then taxed to import these motorcycles back into the United States, then I mean, at some point, I guess what Donald Trump is trying to get at is that they won't be selling as many Harley Davidsons in America because they're going to be too expensive for consumers. Because if you're getting taxed just to ship your motorcycles over here, you're going to have to raise the prices of them so that you make profit. So this can lead if it's expanded to other corporations and other industries. This could lead to a lot of inflation and really hurting the consumer. Honestly.
Yeah, like you got to think about these issues. Who in the end is really getting hurt? Because it's not going to be the big businesses. They're going to find a way to make their money. The person that's getting hurt is the person that can't afford their products anymore because of all of the games that people above them are playing. Because of the powers that be, people are going to have to deal with more expensive products if things keep going the way that they're going. People are going to have to deal with losing their jobs if things keep going the way that they're going. We have to fix it. Who has to fix it? President has to fix it because he's the one that's pulling all the strings right now. He's the one sending all the tweets. He's the one that's making all the laws. He's the one that's doing all the talking. And right now, things aren't going the way that they planned, I'm sure. Initially, with the tariffs and the taxes, the plan was to help American businesses. And now he's on Twitter going at it with an American business. I don't think it gets more American as a business than Harley Davidson. Yeah. So, to say that they're un-American doesn't really make sense to me personally. So they're operating as a business. If Donald Trump was in their position, I'm sure that he would do the same thing.
Yeah, and like we said in the last episode, we don't want to repeat everything that we said in the last episode, but a lot of it's very relevant because it's coming to fruition now. So we said that Trump imposing these tariffs in principle was based upon unfair trade agreements with these countries. And we admitted that the trade agreements that we had established, they weren't the best setups for America. But at the same time, if American businesses were getting cheated by these other countries, how does it help them to now be more like the tariffs to increase? So the EU increased the tax on motorcycles from 6% to 31%. That's a 25% increase in tariffs. So did the aluminum and steel tariff really help Harley Davidson?
You're making a quarter less money.
Yeah, like that's hard. It's hard for a business to stomach that. So you can't blame Harley Davidson for wanting to move their production overseas, especially when it's only for the vehicles that are going to be purchased overseas. So we're not losing any money on exporting Harley Davidsons. They're just being produced over there so that they don't have to pay $100 million a year. Now, in response to all of this news being dropped on the world, Dow, the stock market Dow dropped 500 points last week. So, these tariffs are having further implications than just for Harley Davidson. The whole stock market dropped because of anticipatory fear of what other businesses were going to do once the tariffs started affecting them. So this isn't boding well for the future of these tariffs and the future of our economic state. Considering that Donald Trump is going to maintain these tariffs and do what he says he's going to do and just increase tariffs until everybody agrees to what he wants.
That's not going to happen. I just don't see things going that way. When we discussed this earlier, we keep mentioning earlier episodes because we've kind of been following this whole little issue for as long as we've been doing this show. And it doesn't work that way. When it comes to other countries, they're not businesses. So you're not going to talk to them like they're businesses, and they're not going to operate like they're businesses. You can expect them to operate like they're businesses, and that's kind of what Donald Trump is expecting. He is, from what I gather, he's using the deduction that every country in the world needs to do business with the United States. I understand how big and strong our economy is. I understand how big of a consumer base that we are for most countries, but when it comes down to it, they're showing us right now that they don't necessarily need to do trade with us. They understand how much of a big hit that a 25% increase in motorcycles is going to have on that specific industry. This is a message that's being sent to me, in my opinion, that they're not going to stand for being bullied by Donald Trump, and that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's a pretty reasonable assumption. Um, and I don't know if Donald wants every single country in the world trading with America, but he wants the ones that we were trading with to, trade with us in a way that he would agree upon. Um, and I don't think that compromise is something that you know Donald really puts at the highest pedestal. That's not something that he values that much. He's more of a give me what I want, and if you don't, tough luck. Like you're just not going to get anything from me. So, and I mean that's how he ran his businesses as well. There was a lot of times where he would do things that some people saw as questionable morally to the little guy, and they would sue him, and he would say, "I have more money than you, and I have better lawyers, so I win." And that's not how it works on the international stage. So, like that might work in domestic business, but in terms of international economics, you can't just bully your way to getting what you want. You can even see that with the North Korea deal. He tried to bully North Korea into doing everything, and then he met with them, and in that one meeting he left, and now he has all these praises for Kim Jong Un. That does a bully, a bully like through and through. If you're really a bully, you're not going to leave that meeting unless you got everything that you wanted. And Korea still has nuclear bombs. They're not getting rid of their nuclear bombs. So we're not going to get into North Korea, but I'm just saying that this methodology of just pushing your way through to the top is not working. And yeah, it's not politics. It's not diplomacy. It's just bullying, to put it simply. And just so you guys know that this isn't just Harley Davidson. A number of other CEOs in the Business Roundtable, which is just a group of different CEOs who collaborate, they have announced that they have plans of reducing their hiring rate by 13% and reducing spending by 4%. So right now, or as it currently stands, our unemployment rate is pretty low. We're doing pretty well economically based on the numbers, based on the big businesses' feedback. But in the future, if we continue down this path and we continue having these tariffs that are they're meant to improve the production rate and the production cost for American companies. But the way we went about it is causing American companies to have to shift their production elsewhere, which is going to in turn cause American citizens to lose jobs, which is going to cause Donald Trump to want to domestically tax everybody, which is going to cause the stock market to fall, which is going to cause a lot of different things. So, in the long run, I'm gonna have to give this one a thumbs down. And we've been saying thumbs down for a minute now. We haven't really endorsed his tariff, and I don't think many people have endorsed his tariff idea of just implementing crazy tariffs on everybody. But I think it's about time that somebody sit down with Donald and let him know that this is really hurting people. So with that, unless you have anything else, Mark.
He has to understand that being the president is not the same as being a CEO. Two totally different jobs.
Yeah.
Total strategies you need it for both.
100%. So with that, you guys let us know what you think. Tariffs good, thumbs up, thumbs down. You can like, dislike, comment, share with your friends, subscribe, all that fantastic stuff. We're going to catch you guys next episode. We're going to get into international news, and you'll find out. See y'all later.